So here we're actually at the Wilhelminakade, but at this side it's called Holland America Quay. And this is the main street, you can say, in Rotterdam. So basically, this square kilometer is the history of Holland America Line.
This is Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Today, it's the busiest port in Europe and the fourth largest port in the world.
The Netherlands is, of course, located perfectly in Europe as a gateway to Europe, we like to say, because the rivers go through to Germany, Belgium, France, and the whole of Eastern Europe.
Rotterdam is situated in a natural delta, and that means as a port, it caters to somewhat 350 million people. Until this day, trade comes into the port of Rotterdam, either in containers or goods, breakbulk, and is then sort of divided into smaller portions and then taken upriver.
Most years, 100,000 ships pass through the port of Rotterdam, generating over $50 billion for the Netherlands, all from this 41 square miles of port. But in the late 1800s, none of this was here. Rotterdam was a tiny city with a bit of a problem. The river mouth was very shallow, and if a ship wanted to come in to Rotterdam, it had to take a long detour through canals and rivers, adding days to the journey. So, a group of entrepreneurs got together and hatched a plan. They'd dredge the river and make a new waterway to the sea, and it was a game changer.
Well, in those days we had what we call the havenbaronnen, the port barons as we call them, entrepreneurs, people who were looking for opportunities, and Anthony Plate, Lodewijk Pincoffs, and Otto Reuchlin. They started the North American Shipping Company.
In 1873, the name was actually Nederlandse Amerikaanse Stoomvaartmaatschappij, which was fine for the Dutch side of the business, but doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Luckily, there was another name that everyone was already calling us. But a name wasn't going to solve all of the problems that a new company faces. Despite fierce competition, 1 out of every 10 immigrants who traveled steerage to the US traveled on a Holland America Line ship. For one simple reason: we treated those immigrants like human beings deserved to be treated. And it all started at home in Rotterdam.
So here we're actually at the Wilhelminakade, but at this side it's called Holland America Quay. Just on the opposite side you have the Royal Yacht Club, where actually the deed, when it was started, the company, was signed, dined and wined. If you walk a little bit up along the quay, you will find Hotel New York, which was the original head office of Holland America Line, and I have heard so many stories of people going there, trembling knees, and how happy they were when they finally got on board.
So the migrants came from all over Europe, let's say, or the east part of Europe to Rotterdam, and they stayed here for a few days or a week maybe in Rotterdam, because most of the time their passage had still to be booked. When they stayed in Rotterdam, up till the 1890s, they mostly went, or I think all of them went to private boarding houses. And in the earlier days, the people of the boarding houses, well, they were not that fair in the prices people had to pay. And people like Plate and Reuchlin, who were the founders of the Holland America Line, also saw this. So at the end of the 19th century, they built their own immigrant hotel.
We built our immigrants' hotel just a few blocks from our head offices, but it was much more than a hotel. It had a kosher kitchen, English classes, even classes on American civics.
In the early 20th century, the amounts of people going through Rotterdam grew immensely, so the fleet of the Holland America Line was always present in the heart of the city. And I think if you were standing on the north side of the river looking at the Wilhelminakade, you would always see Holland America Line, all very recognizable for their funnels and the green and white, the city colors of Rotterdam.
Holland America Line has always been a part of Rotterdam, and Rotterdam will always be a part of Holland America Line. Wherever we go, we take a piece of that square mile of history and culture with us.